Moses wasn't ready. He said, everything you told me is great. Now, what if they still don't believe me? God said, what do you have there in your hand? A rod. Drop it on the ground. What happened? It turned into a serpent. Moses was shocked. Now God said, grab him by the tail. If anyone ever here has ever had a pet, you would know that grabbing them by the tail is probably one of the worst things you can do. You do not grab an animal by its tail. But God said, grab him by his tail. If you have a dog, you do not grab a dog by his tail. You want to tame an animal, the last thing you do is grab it by its tail. What did God say? Grab him by his tail. Moses went, grabbed him by his tail. Boom, staff again. C'est vrai? Okay. Take your hand, okay? Put it in your bosom. All right? Take it out. Oh, aval blanc. Tout même Moïse, une blanc, tant qu'on monde qui gagne la lettre. Mais le blanc. Blanc net. Prends mes on. Tournel. OK? Retire le cogné. Oh, aval tourner normal. Aval normal cogné. Beaucoup là. Bon, l'autre toujours. C'est vrai? Si on pas quoi toujours, on va prendre de l'eau. On va vider sous terre, on va tourner sang. What is the significance of these three things? The first two that you see were transformations, right? The transformation, number one, the rod turned into a serpent and then turned back. The second one was a hand that was healed, looked like a hand with leprosy, and then turned back. Transformation. God told Moses, he said, listen, this is the transformation I can do. But if they don't listen, this is the judgment I'm going to give by turning water into blood. Here's the judgment that I will exact on these people. This is the transformation I can do. Your enemies will become powerless. You will grab your enemy by the tail. It will be in your hand. Your enemy will be in your hand. I will deliver them into your hand. You will grab them by the tail. Pharaoh chose the hard way. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter to the people of Israel which way that Pharaoh chose, because they were going to be free one way or another. If you wanted to sit here and play a game with God, play with him. But my money's on God to win that game. You want to sit here and you want to roll that dice with the Lord, with the Most High? My money is on the fact that I'm pretty sure that God will win. You want to sit here and play a game of chance with God? Then I'm telling you that the winner, the ultimate winner, the victor, the last one standing at the end, 10 out of 10 times will be the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end, the Ancient of Days, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Shammah, Yahweh Adonai, the Lord of Hosts, the Prince of Peace, the God who is, was, and forever will be, he who was, he who is, he who forever will be, the God that says, and it comes to pass, qui donne et qu'il existe, qui parle et tout ça le dit arrivé, l'aile parler, toute l'éternité envahie, l'aile dit un mot, tout ça le dit arrivé. That is the God that is here, the God that says, I will do, let my people go. I'm not here to negotiate, to ask if you are willing to only let them go for 3 days. If you don't want to let them go, not only will I take them, but I will take what belongs to you. Your firstborn, I'll take them the same way you took my firstborn. The people of Israel, they were my firstborn. You decided to take them, then I will take from you. You decided to humiliate them, I will humiliate you. You decided to stop them, I will stop you. You decided to barricade them, I will barricade you. You decided to slavery them, I will make sure I turn you into slaves. Young people, those that are here listening to me in the room, those that are listening to me on YouTube, let my people go can start with Jeunesse Chrétienne, but it will finish with you. This theme will not just stay inside these four walls. It's time for a generation to rise. It's time for a generation to stand. It's time for a generation to rise. It's time for a generation to stand. It is time for a generation to rise. It is time for a generation to stand. It is time for a generation to rise. It is time for a generation to stand. It is time for a generation, the generation that God has set apart to rise. It is time for the people that God has set apart to stand. It is time to stand for the cause of God. It is time to stand for the cause of God. It is time to stand for the cause of God. God says, JC, let my people go. And for you out there that's listening to me, wherever you are, as part of that people, you can be one too. God is coming for a generation, not just 10 or 20. God is coming for a generation. He's coming to save a generation. It is time for the army of the living God to stand. It is time for the army of the living God to stand. It's been asleep for far too long. It is time for the men, the young men and the young women of God to accomplish exactly what is said in Joel chapter 2, verse 27 and 28. It is time. It is time. The people suffered, and God could have saved them at any point during 400 plus years. But he chose to wait. He chose to wait. He chose to wait. He needed a certain Moses to be born, to drive home his word into his people, to let them know that he is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of their ancestors. He is the one that started, that is, and that will finish. It is time for a generation to stand and to stand for Christ. It is time for a generation to rise, to answer the calling that God has announced. The trumpets will sound. The voice will shout. God is waiting. He's waiting, he's waiting, he's waited, he's waited. He's done waiting. The God that I serve is done waiting. He's done waiting. And I'm going to give you this last word before I leave. God is done waiting to the point, even if he has to take care of you in the desert. And when I say take care, I don't mean giving manna and water and clothes. No. Even if he has to punish you in the desert, he will do it. But he's not okay to leave you in Egypt. Even if he has to punish you in the desert for disobedience, but he's not willing to leave you in Egypt. He prefers to take you out from under the hand of the Egyptians. Even if that means he has to judge you in the desert, he will do it. But he's not allowed, he's not okay to leave you in Egypt. Even if he has to deal with you strictly, severely in Egypt, in the desert, he will do that. But he prefers to do that than leave you in Egypt. Think about something. Not everybody that left Egypt saw Canaan. You never ask yourself, God, if those people left and they didn't even see Canaan, then why didn't you just wait for the new generation to come and just take that generation to Egypt, to Canaan instead? Why not? They left, they died in the desert. At that point, what's the difference? God doesn't care. He's not willing to leave you in Egypt anymore.